Um, so we'll be starting the session now. So we have an amazing guest with us. She's one of the 6 recipients of the Adobe India Women in Tech Scholarship. And not only that, she also has interned at Adobe as a research intern. So let's now hear about her journey from the woman herself. Shwetha, over to you.
Hi guys, good evening to everyone. I'm Shwetha. I'm a final year undergrad in SSN College of Engineering. I'm from Chennai. And so I've actually dabbled in a lot of fields from, IoT, biomedical instrumentation, and then image processing. And then finally, my interests now are in computer vision and deep learning and image processing. About me, so till now, I've interned as a research intern at Adobe Research, and then
I think she had a technical difficulty. Just-
hi, I'm sorry about that issue. I think Chrome just crashed. So yeah, so last year I was a research intern at IISc through the Summer Research Fellowship Program, and this year I just completed my research internship at Adobe. So yeah, that's about me.
Once again, thank you so much for coming here and taking out your time. So if you could give some insights about the Adobe Women in Tech Research Scholarship.
Right. So the Adobe Women in Technology Scholarship is an amazing program, and even the process itself is very nice. Like you get to interact with senior professionals in Adobe, and the interviews themselves are a pleasure. Right. It's not very. I mean, of course, it's an interview, but the questions that they ask you are very genuine and. Yeah, it's a nice experience even going through the interviews. And apart from that, obviously, you get the benefits that they have mentioned in the website. You get the last 2 years of your undergrad funded by Adobe. Apart from that, you also get a sponsored. You also get a sponsored trip to the GHCI India conference, and yeah, and apart from that, you get the opportunity to interview for a research intern at Adobe. So, yeah.
That's really cool, actually. A lot of perks are there. So how has your life changed after this whole experience?
Right. So I think the biggest way that this scholarship has impacted my life is because of the research intern, right? I really enjoyed my internship and I came to know a lot of things. So Adobe is a really good company to intern at, and the resources that you get as an intern are just amazing. So, and you get to, seriously, you get to interact with so many senior researchers, and being able to get involved in an industrial research experience is something that people don't get often, especially in India where there's not a lot of opportunities for research internships. So, and of course, like getting the scholarship, it offers you more visibility, right? And yeah.
That is amazing. Sounds really cool. So so what's the application process like? There's a resume. You need a resume. You need to have transcripts. You need to have an LOR. You need to write 6 essays, a 200-word limit. So if you can go step by step towards all of these sections of the application. So one of the most hot burning question that pops up every time is how should we design a resume for this scholarship? So if you could explain on that.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at the application website right now. So, and as you mentioned, like I'll just go through it sequentially. So first you need to fill out your personal information. You need to upload your resume and your transcripts. And I remember when I applied, the transcripts, they didn't need to be official, right? So because of the pandemic situation, I'm sure we won't be able to get like the proper transcripts from our college. And so yeah, so coming to the resume. Just to give you some context, while I was applying for this scholarship, I had around 4 projects on my resume, and I had 2 internships, right? One research internship at my college and one research internship at IISc through SRFP. And I had also won 2 hackathons by then. So this was what was there in my resume at that point of time. And yeah, I made sure to highlight relevant portions. So for example, if you did a project, it's obviously more attractive if you put it as, I worked on this project, within 10 days I achieved X, right? So I'm sure you guys must already be knowing this, but this was basically how my resume was aligned. And so I think the next part of the application is the essay questions. So the essay questions and the resume are the parts of your application that you can really control. And according to me, the essay questions are extremely important because honestly, so many people apply to the scholarship, and the only way for you to stand out is through your essays. And the first thing is be genuine, right? Like, be genuine, don't lie about anything on either your resume or your essays. And I think we had 5 questions, and I think this year there are 5 questions too, and they're very similar. So basically try to include your personal experiences in the essay, and talk about, and I think there's a question about why you deserve the scholarship, right? So just one other point that I wanted to mention. So everybody is dedicated, everybody is sincere, right? So what are you apart from that, right? And you can say that, I've done this, I've done that, I've achieved this, and this is the reason why I feel that I deserve the scholarship, right? So when you're writing the essays, try to bring in a personal component, right? Try to write from your experiences so that it'll set you apart. And I think the next has to be the LOR, I think. Yeah. So the letter of recommendation. So if any of you are interested in, going for hires abroad, you must already be familiar with the concept of a letter of recommendation. And it's basically from a professor who talks about how well they know you, how you behave in class, or if you've done a project under them, how you've carried yourself throughout that duration. So in an LOR, they usually mention things like, this person is dedicated, this person has shown leadership capabilities, they brought the entire team together, right? They talk about all of this. And in some LORs, professors even mention that, throughout my career, I have mentored so and so number of students, and this person is in the top 5%, right? So my advice would be to get a letter of recommendation from a professor who knows you really well. And yeah, I think that's with regard to the application. And one other question that I get very often is, so there's a link, sorry, so there's a, yeah, so you can provide a link as a multimedia submission, right? Like, you can provide a video to to add that to your resume, to your application. And a lot of people ask me, like, it's mentioned that it's optional, like, will it really affect my chances if I don't add in a video? So I did not include a video in my application, so I really don't think it matters much. Sorry, matters much in the sense it may elevate your profile, but it won't bring it down, right? So if you're comfortable with making videos and you feel that you can express yourself better, please go ahead and add in a video, but don't be forced to go for a video. And make sure that your essays and your resume are, they agree with each other, right? Just, yeah.
That's great. I had a question about resume. Do they search for some keywords, some qualities, specific qualities in the resume for candidates?
Right. I don't think so. I'm not really sure about what goes behind the process, right? but like, it's best to include keywords. And I remember, so just for your information, I think Adobe India is going to host a meeting tomorrow to discuss to answer the queries that applicants may have. And last year during that session, one person had asked, if it makes a difference that, if person A is from like a software development background and person B is from a research background, like, will it matter, will that be taken into consideration? And the answer was no. The only thing that matters is how dedicated you are and how you've accomplished so many things against against the barriers that you face as a woman.
All right. About the essays, did you keep something particular in mind that you framed your essays on, or did you get them reviewed somewhere by some senior or by any other third person?
Right. So when I was applying, the deadline was pretty close, right? So I had to write the essays very fast, and I just sent it to my friends for review. And yeah, so just as I mentioned, like, it all comes down to how you communicate your experiences, right? Because after a point, all the applicants have done amazing things, right? Like, all of them wouldn't have done the same thing, but they've done amazing things. So it becomes very important for you to differentiate yourself, and that starts by talking about the difficulties that you faced, right? Because everybody's struggle is different, right? So for example, I think for one question I talked about how I got interested in STEM after participating in a lot of competitions when I was young, about how I faced discrimination from my teachers at my school, where they wouldn't allow girl students to go to competitions, and I had to fight for everything and all of that, right? So obviously your essays still have to answer the question, but there is a way you can write it so that you can bring in your personal experience and then build it up from there, right? Like, always when you say, hey, I achieved this, when there's a context of, I achieved this while facing these issues, it always adds more value, and that is actually the truth. It's really how about you communicate that in your essays.
Right, well said. Um, about the LOR, so because we don't have a particular interaction with the professors as we had an online SEM for like the past 3 or 4 semesters. So how should we approach a professor for the LOR?
Right. So I think professors are usually very friendly when it comes to letter of recommendations, and they're already used to this entire process, right? So um, I don't think a professor. I mean, they themselves might give you some tips, right? Saying that this is how I'll be writing it. If the professor, it depends on the professor basically. So yeah, just so basically choose a professor. So in online classes you might have been interactive in a particular class, right? So go talk to that professor, tell them that I'm applying for this scholarship, I've done this, I've done that, I really want you to support my application, because at the end of the day it's the professor who writes the LOR, and you don't have an impact, and you don't get to mess with that. So just go for a professor that knows you well. And I know it's kind of tough, what with online and all, but I'm sure they'll understand because they're used to this.
Right. Also, a very, I think, might be a personal question, but what was there in your application that you got selected out of such a huge pool of students?
Right. So both my resume and my essays, they were aligned in the sense. So talking about my background, I'm basically a PCMB student, right? I didn't pursue computer science in my school. My interests were in biology, right? And I'm still interested in biology, and that's my end goal, right? Like, my end goal is to have a startup that works on innovative solutions for pressing healthcare problems, right? So everything that I've done in my college life is oriented towards that, starting experimentation with biomedical instrumentation, going for a research internship in biomedical imaging, and then moving on to deep learning solutions. It's all very oriented, and I've been very clear about what I want to achieve in the next 3 to 4 years. And I made sure that was reflected in my resume. And apart from just college, I've done a lot of things in school that also, that also indicated my interest in STEM. So I was able to bring up all of these things, right? Like, me participating in this event, that event in school, and talking about my experience in college. And I was able to put that in a very coherent manner, right? So yeah, as I said, it's your journey that sets you apart, right? Like I initially when I was applying, I wasn't sure if I would get through because I'm an electronics and communication major, but I don't think that mattered at the end of the day. And it all just comes down to how you communicate your journey, right? And you have to show them that you've strived for excellence in whatever you're trying to do. And my goal of having a health startup came up a lot of the times in the interviews too. So yeah. So yeah, that's another point that I wanted to mention. Don't think that you can write some story in your essays and that you won't be because during the interviews they will ask you they will ask you questions about what you've mentioned in your resume and your essays. So be genuine, don't lie about anything.
Right, we'll definitely keep that in mind. Also, one question related to this, as you discussed, you are from ECE background. So, a question was asked in the form that circulated was, how do you manage code ECE subjects along with coding and development?
Right. So I think that's yeah, it's hard. The truth is, it's hard. And I think what helped me in my case was just just find yourself a good peer group, right? People who are as driven as you, because it's easier when three people want to master a subject than it is for you to just sit and do it by yourself. So finding a committed peer group helps a lot. And more than that, I think it all just comes down to time management, right? So I still think so. In my college, we had a lot of courses that were relevant to whatever I wanted to pursue. So, for example, for image processing, there were a lot of related courses. For computer vision, there are a lot of related courses. So, I was able to make use of my college courses too. But yeah, at the end of the day, it all comes down to time management.
Right, that's like really impressive handling both these side by side. So, what is the process after the application deadline? What happens after that?
Right. So your applications will be shortlisted, right, based on your essays and your resume, and after that you'll be called for a series of interviews, right? And these interviews will be held um, you know, uh, by the Adobe scholarship panel, right, for this scholarship. And yeah, so in these interviews, you will be asked questions based on your resume and your essays, right? And it's not a technical interview. And this was also another question that came up from an applicant that I got on LinkedIn, which was basically, will they test our coding skills? No, they won't. Um, they might be interested in the tech stack that you've used for a particular project, but yeah, and it also depends on the interviewer, right? So just be confident with everything that you have on your resume and your essay, and again, be genuine. That'll take care of everything.
So, set of interviews, like how many interviews after you get a mail for that you're shortlisted for the interview process? How many interviews are there?
Right. I think it varies year to year between scholar to scholar as well. So I think it's usually between 2 to 4. I'm not sure. So yeah.
Right. So we'll take up the questions after some time. Definitely can put it in the chat. We love to take up your questions. So there is also some internship opportunity related to this scholarship. So if you could put some light on that.
Right. So after you're selected as a scholar, you will be called. You'll be called to an interview for the position of a research intern, right? So after I got selected as a scholar, I went through that interview process and I got selected. So I did my research intern.
All right. So are there more internships? This one research internship, and are there more internships like that?
I'm not really sure about that because I'm oriented towards research, so I didn't explore that much. But yeah, that's a question that you can ask them tomorrow.
Sure. All right. So I guess we have a question. Shweta asks, what do they exactly look for in an application? Since you said it has to be different, but is there a desired skill set that they want?
Right. So, as I mentioned, so this scholarship is open to streams in ECE, CSE, and all that, right? So, I believe that they don't have like a particular skill set that they would like, but rather they look um, at the level of excellence that you've achieved in your area of interest, right? So that's what I meant by, they don't, that's what I meant by when I said that they don't prioritize a research profile over a development profile. So according to me, just, whatever you've achieved in your area of interest should be enough.
Right. You guys have any other questions? We have opened the forum for questions. If you want to ask, either you can unmute yourself or just put it in the chat box. We wait for a few minutes. Right. So a question popped up in my forum the form that I actually circulated. So, so is research experience needed before applying to this internship?
Right. For the internship, it would be pretty good if you have research experience. And it doesn't really have to be, so this holds true for most research internships, right? So, our previous research experience at some good college, preferably in your second year, will be useful. But other than that, like, you can still work under a professor at your college and that still counts. So, yeah.
Um, and the LOR, it has to be from our college professor only, not from, let's say, a mentor we had during our internship or something like that.
Right. Yeah, I think it does have to be from a professor in your college, but please check the website. And yeah,
There was a kind of confusion about this, so I just wanted to clear it up.
yeah.
So Shraddha asked, in the essay for our experiences in life, if we include something not related to tech, will it be acceptable?
Essay for our experiences in life. So, okay, let me just have a look at the questions. Um, Event that has impacted your life. Is that the one that you're talking about? Um, okay. Yeah, so right. So I had written an answer that was related to me participating in certain science events and how that had, affected how that had motivated me to pursue a career in STEM, though despite the barriers. So I think it should be fine. Like as long as you try to convey what you want to, I think it's fine. Yeah. Again, it's an essay. I mean, it's a subjective question, right? So as long as you are clear about what you want to convey and as long as you're sure that it enhances your entire application, go ahead with it.
Is anyone else? If we have missed out anything, please ask a question. Anyone else? So I had a question like, how was your research internship? Like, how was the experience of being a research intern at Adobe?
Right. So research internships are very dynamic. So it was a very, like, I thoroughly enjoyed the internship, but like I was working a lot. But yeah, it was very enjoyable because I was working on something that I liked. And like you get so much resources. Like Adobe is such a good company to intern at. You get access to a lot of resources and your mentors are so knowledgeable, right? I strongly feel that it's an experience that you can't get anywhere else, right? So yeah, the internship is for 3 months. And over the 3 months, you basically work on a problem statement, right? You defend it, you talk about and then you have a solution defense. And yeah, and then you have a project defense. So that's basically how the research internship works. But yeah. So they actually refer it. So A lot of the previous research interns, they call it as a it's like a taste of a doctoral program because the work there is very intense, and the problems that you're working on are also of like a really good caliber, right? So you kind of get an experience of what a PhD program would work. And also if your work during the internship is good enough, you can also get it published and patented. So yeah.
That's really cool. So Vani has a question for you. Can she get her essays reviewed by you if you have the time for it?
Hi, Vani. I'll definitely try to. You can send me a connection request on LinkedIn. Just message me with a link to your with a link to a Google Doc with your essays in it. I can't promise that I'll absolutely be able to, but I'll definitely try.
Guys, any more questions, or we'll just wrap this up then?
Yeah. And actually, I just wanted to mention a couple more opportunities. So, you guys can apply to the Micron Global Women Internship Program. I heard that they're opening their applications again in winter. I'm not really sure. But yeah, so please do apply for that. And if any of you is interested in research, apply to SRFP, apply to MyTax, right? And yeah, all the best to all of you. And I just want to mention that scholarships like these, mentorship applications, they're extremely competitive, and just because you didn't get in doesn't mean that you're not good enough or anything. So because you are competing against so many people, right, that sometimes it comes down to the right person seeing your application. So don't get disheartened, right? Just keep trying. Don't fall prey to peer pressure, right? Just work hard, do what you like, and things will fall into place.
That's really great advice. Definitely, like an application process, you get to know a lot more about yourself while writing the essays. And even though you may or may not get in, but you still get to learn a lot. That's true. Um, so I guess that's it. If you guys don't have any other question, I'll just give you 1 minute. If you have, please hurry up.
Yeah. You guys, again, feel free to message me on my LinkedIn profile. It might take some time for me to respond to your request, but I'm always free, open to help people.
Like she's like the most helpful senior. Like I've talked about Adobe. That's why I thought this would be a good opportunity to help all the other people who are facing difficulty.
Thank you.
All right, then I guess that's it. Thank you so much once again for coming and taking out your time. Thank you so much. Your all the advices that you gave, we'll definitely take that into note. And again, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys. Bye.